Hi everyone, it's Brad here from caredata.com.au and I want to talk to you guys about the importance of building, maintaining and managing a home care package pipeline. So first things first, Brad, what actually is a home care package pipeline? Guys, the answer is really simple on this. We've all heard of the National Priority System. Most of us know it as the wait list, and we know that it can take anywhere up to 18 months for a home care package to come through. We know that every quarter there's a program data report released, and we know that as of the last program data report released, there was about 55,000 people or clients waiting for their first home care package to be assigned. So there was 55,000 people in the national wait list. We know that generally speaking, it's going to go anywhere up to 18 months. At the moment, the entire wait list is under 12 months, so that's the biggest time frame you're going to see at the moment, which is great news for everyone. But really, what we know is there's 55,000 people there. Now, our internal home care package pipeline, as a home care organisation that delivers home care packages, our home care package pipeline is what can we see out of that 55,000. So there's 55,000 in the national queue, and we can see 500 when we go into My Aged Care and we essentially download the data and look at all the approvals and everyone that's in the wait list. We can see 500 of them. So a really important metric for us to begin tracking, if we're not already, is our market share of the wait list. A lot of us will, quite often every quarter, we will track our market share for occupancy. Am I growing in the amount of home care package clients I've got? We're going to track market share for admissions, i.e. there were this many people admitted into their home care package. How many did we admit? I want my market share there. And the third one, which I feel is really important that we don't track as often, is what is my market share of waitlist? And it's not until you have that third metric there that you can see if there's any upcoming risk in your admissions. So guys, it's really important. Today, what we're talking about is the benefits of us internally having our visibility of the National Priority System. So that's what we're going through. So what does a home care package pipeline look like? Guys, there's many ways to skin a cat here, but what I'm showing you here on the screen is more of an executive summary. This is literally just what are my regions, what are my outlets, how many total referrals do I have across all programs, across all service types, and then what I want to know is out of those referrals or that referral number, how many home care packages can I see? If I have home care package outlets that only have home care packages in them, I'm probably still going to see some stuff in there, but that's going to be my upgrades, not necessarily my first up packages. This is really important view for us, because what it does is it tells us by outlet where our opportunity is. It tells me how many people I've got and how many packages are coming through. And if I tally all of that up for my organization across a region and then across the business, what I can see is roughly almost per month, how many packages are we expecting to drop that we already have visibility of? And that's really important. So a couple of other ways we can look at this when we actually get the underlying data, which I can show you how to do using the My Aged Care Toolkit. But once we have the underlying data and we've been able to use that to build this view, what we can also see is the home care package levels. So we can start thinking workforce planning, hours of service delivery. We can see the suburbs that they're in, so we can break it down more than an outlet. If we've got an outlet covering an entire aged care planning region, which is really common, we might want a smaller breakdown geographically, and we can do that using the underlying data. So guys, this is a really important one here. Straight up, as an executive, I can look at this and know how we're faring. If I have a rough idea of my conversion here, I can sort of see, look, we've got 500 in here. I know we're going to convert at 80%. I know we've been managing those relationships. We've probably got 400 home care package admissions up our sleeve across the next 12 months. I can now use that number to start tasking, deploying, mitigating risk, whatever it is that I need to do, because I've got visibility of something. We're no longer shooting from the hip for our next home care package. It's really important. So the benefits of a home care package pipeline, I'm going to take you through 6 key benefits here, guys. The first is, like I just said, you can start to project your admissions. And once you can project your admissions, you can then mitigate any risk that you have in growth. If what you can see in your pipeline isn't going to get you to where you need it to get to, whether that's by area or whether that's across the whole business, we now have a little bit of a call to action. we can start building the relationship first. A lot of us over time have almost separated how we run our different programs, and we might have a coordination team over here doing Commonwealth Home Support and then a home care package cohort over here. And never the two shall meet. It's really important, once we have visibility of this, that we can begin to join those two functions together and create a better client experience and build that first relationship. We can plan for the client onboarding. Cannot stress how important this is. I'll talk about that shortly. We can plan for the workforce, another biggie in home care. And lastly, we can begin to inform our central and shared services, which is extremely important. You know, the larger your organization is, and I can speak from experience here, the larger and more complex it is, the smarter your business partners are going to be, the more capable they're going to be. But believe it or not, the harder it's going to be for them to help because it's so complex. So let's talk about informing central and shared services as well. So projecting our admissions. First things first, we're going to know which package is being assigned and when. If I can take your mind back to that view, we can literally see Mary's due in 3 months. Mary has less than a month to go. Mary has just been assigned. It's really, really, really great visibility. We can make an assumption around conversion. If we already know our conversion, that's great. We can make the assumption straight up. What a lot of us don't realize is the amount of, if we're not tracking a pipeline, the amount of conversion that we don't make simply because it's not recorded in the system. If we haven't proactively managed that relationship, if we haven't followed them right through in the CRM and then recorded it as, you know, a non-conversion or a disqualified lead, then we're losing all of that information to potentially help people learn and grow. We can review this pipeline against our home care package admissions, target and budget, like I just said, and identify risk, and we can understand how much of the target is made up of pipeline clients. Now, it's a very different conversation when you say, look, we need to shoot for 400 clients this financial year, and I can already see 400 of them in my pipeline. So when someone says, we want to spend half your money doing this, we can have a robust discussion about what is more important in terms of activity and why. And lastly, we can identify the effort involved in pipeline management versus lead generation. Like I just said, there's no point going out, standing on the corner, waving a flag to go and get more leads, but we can already see them, and we should be spending our time managing those relationships so we can start to make educated decisions around how we're going to use our resource. Mitigating your risk in growth. Guys, we can see the risk in admissions targets from the day those admissions targets are given. If an executive was to hand down a budget, you should know, you know, as a great custodian of your business, you should know off the top of your head how you're going to go versus that, because we don't sell pens. People don't just rock up one day and say, hey, I need a pen. We can see them for 12 months plus in some cases. So there's no reason why when we get a budget, we shouldn't be able to say there's risk in this budget or we should be fine. That's the kind of level of detail we need to get to. We need to be able to identify work effort required in assessment, CHSP onboarding, and lead generation. And what I mean by that is if I've just received a budget and they've said, okay, Brad, we need 600. I know you've got 400 in there. I now need to ask myself in our business, where are we going to get the other 200 from? Are we going to hope that they just get referred to us? Are we going to look for a potential opportunity to get people reassessed through the ACAT who have only been assessed by the RAS because we think they have the needs that suggest they need a home care package? They've just never been in front of the right person. We need to be able to identify with this extra 200 that we have to get, are they existing clients elsewhere that we're going to try and push your reassessment? Do we fundamentally need to onboard more CHSP clients to get more people in the door to backfill the pipeline? Or do we fundamentally just need to go around and fly the flag and get more home care packages? You know, look at SEO, online stuff, or find a way to network to get more packages. And lastly, when we talk about mitigating the risk in growth, is we can let the executive know early where resourcing and spend is required. I cannot stress enough the importance of this one here. Your executive shouldn't be waiting months for you to tell them what this looks like. They should be able to hand down a budget and we should be able to say, cool, this looks good or this doesn't look good and this is what I'm going to need. So if we can at least give them the information in a readily presented format, they'll probably be able to help us make the decisions around what we need. But in lieu of data, in lieu of information, they're going to be confused as to why we can't make it happen. So this is our responsibility as business leaders. Building the relationship first, this is going to be the single key to unlocking a higher conversion rate, guys. So first things first, if we do have those separate functions for CHSP and home care package, we're going to be able to identify those clients early if we're managing the data now. We're going to be able to say, hey, I can see you've got a home care package. I'm still going to deal with you how I would deal with you under CHSP, but in the back of my mind, I might be looking to create another relationship. I might be handing you over to a case manager a bit earlier. I might be adding a couple of more things to your profile in my client management system because it's important for me to have now. So we're going to be able to identify them early. We're going to be able to begin the home care package conversation before our competitors get the chance. By virtue of having exclusivity and demand, guys, if I'm delivering Commonwealth Home Support and I'm the only person that's let someone in, then by virtue of that, I'm the only one that can see the potential clients. So I can have the first conversation and essentially begin my conversion from day one when the home care package is 12 months out. It's a massive competitive advantage, and we need to understand that over the next couple of years. Lastly, we can be the bearer of good news from the national priority system. There's no reason someone should have to call My Aged Care. There's no reason someone should have to wait for a letter or hear from anyone else. If we can see that client and we're delivering interim services to them, and we can see that data and we can access their My Aged Care record and we can go and look in the client summary tab, we should be able to tell them when their home care package goes from 3 to 6 months down to less than 3 months. We should know that, we should have triggers for that, and we should be able to deliver that information to the client. That essentially puts us in a position as an organization where we're now telling the client where they're up to. So we are the custodians of their journey, and that's really, really important in terms of building the relationship. Plan for the client onboarding. This is so important. If we can see someone for 12 months and we're still offering a crappy onboarding experience, guys, it's not good enough. Onboarding is really challenging and it's very time consuming in our industry. There are so many moving parts. We need to go in, we need to take a service plan, we need to build our own service plan, care plan, build a budget that's going to maximize fund utilization. We need to make the connections, make the referrals, do all of those things in the home. So it's really up to us, in our operating model to make sure that we've planned for the client onboarding. We need to allow our case managers to be case managers. If there's work that can be moved centrally, whether it's the creation of packs, whether it doesn't matter what it is, if there's work that we can move centrally, we need to move that centrally so that our case managers can go into the home and have a meaningful conversation and not make the client sit there while they're doing admin. We had that opportunity already and we need to consider that. Lastly, we can remove the time to shop around. If we have planned for the client onboarding and we've called Mary when it says less than 1 month to go, and we've booked the in-home visit, and we've essentially brought her on before her home care package has been assigned, by getting all the paperwork done and essentially built the care plan, and we're just waiting for the final signature on the drop date. If we've done all of that, we've given our client no opportunity or need to go and shop around because they know that we're already looking after them. From day one, Mary, we can get your services started, and that's such a great experience. Plan for your workforce. Workforce planning is one of the single biggest operational challenges you will find as a home care package provider. It's such a complex environment. I'm going to do a video completely on workforce planning, but when you consider we are a logistics business, we are in field services, but we can't just tell people when we're going to rock up. There's an element of consumer direction in there as well, and choice, and we have to cater to that. We like to contract our workforce as employees and not contractors, and there's all of these moving parts that mean the onus and responsibility is always on us to get it right, and the only way to get it right is to have well formatted data that can inform the decision makers so that they're always in a position where they can take advantage of an opportunity. So in terms of planning for your workforce, The benefits of a home care package pipeline are that we can understand what's coming through our pipeline each month. Imagine if you have a rosterer or a workforce planner or a HR business partner or a recruiter or whoever it might be, and they have access to the same information as your intake team, which is we have these people coming through. We've got 8 people in this aged care planning region coming through this month. We can see they've got these level packages, which generally means in terms of frontline carer, we're going to have this many hours required. We know we're going to convert most of them because we already know that. So we can start to make assumptions around what our levels of care requirement are going to be a month out. If we really want, we can also identify those recruitment requirements 3, 6, 9 months out, because we can see, okay, a campaign is required here. We turn the portals on for DA. We brought an extra 100 people into the pipeline in this one little area, and I know in 6 months' time I'm going to be out by a couple of 100 hours a week. So I really need to, get the ball rolling and not rely on that time to recruit. And lastly, sorry, I've done it backwards here, but lastly is we can begin the roster build prior to the home care package being assigned. The biggest turnoff for any client is going to be waiting and waiting and waiting for their home care package, being promised everything under the sun, and the day they get their package, they get told, cool, it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks before we can find you a carer. That is not good enough. If we've been watching that for 12 months or 12 months plus, we should have done the work already. And this is what a pipeline gives us. It gives us the opportunity to begin the conversation, to understand what the needs are, and get all of our workforce ready to be able to build the roster long before the home care package drops. There's an element of risk in that. There's always going to be an element of risk in that, but it's just a leg up on all of our competitors. Lastly, we can inform our central and shared services. Now, who here has ever, I'm assuming people are watching, who here has ever been to a meeting where people say, cool, tell me what you need? It's the hardest thing in the world. When you work in a home care business, there's so many moving parts. It's so complex. It's really hard to just walk into a meeting when someone's offering you resources or money or help or SME experience. It's really hard to often articulate what it is that you need. So what we're suggesting here is that home care package pipeline is always going to give you a little bit of a baseline. It's going to inform so much stuff in your business. You're going to be able to provide areas of risk to marketing strategy and the executive from day one, or halfway through a budget period. You can say, look, I can see that we're running out of steam. We're losing the pipeline. I need you to really help me top that up. There's a call to action there for marketing. Maybe we need some new services created. Strategy, go and have a look at the data. I've already got it for you. Or the executive, guys, just know we're working as hard as we can. We might need more boots on the ground here. Secondly, provide your areas of strength to help build the value proposition. For every opportunity, you've also got a strength. And it's really important when you're looking at your home care package pipeline, because we're not just looking for home care packages, guys. This data set is also going to tell us everything people are approved for. It's really important when we have that to understand what we do really well and start to build a value proposition that doesn't just revolve around price. We work in a care environment, it's not a race to the bottom. It's really important. We can then identify opportunities for service development. If we can see that those 100 people we let in for domestic assistance a couple of weeks ago also have in-home respite, well, maybe that's another offering that I can take advantage of during a period of flexibility provisions, which we have for the next little while. And lastly, we can give our executive and business partners time to hear, digest, and plan to make decisions or to help us in general. There's nothing worse than asking for help when it's too late. If we can start to point out risk early in a budget period or even before a budget period, we can allow them the time they need to go and make a plan to resource their own department to come back and help us properly. It's really, really hard to educate people when you're fighting a fire. So where do we start, guys? That's all really great information, but how do we actually do this work? And there's 2 ways to do it. There's the automated way or there's the manual way. And I'm not going to say which one is better, because it really depends on the size of your organization and the size of your team, and also your internal capability when it comes to system and technology. But the process will always remain the same, guys. So that's what I'll talk you through. We need to take a snapshot of the My Aged Care portal, and we need to do it by client. Speaking from experience, it's much easier to do it in an automated fashion because you can do it every week, as opposed to once, and it's like a painting the harbour bridge effort. Once you finish, you have to start again. So depending on how many clients are in your My Aged Care portal, there's two ways to go. Second point is we need to compare that snapshot against our CRM and intake records. So if that snapshot says we've got 500 people in the pipeline, and then we look at our CRM system and we can only see that there's 250 relationships that exist, there's an immediate call to action there, because we need to find the 250 that aren't having the conversation, and we need to make sure we can begin that. Third thing is we need to assess the current intake model and process. Chances are when you find a gap like that 250, it's because there is a gap or a non-handover or something missing in your intake process. So once we realize what the gap is, we need to implement the solution to make sure it becomes part of our intake process so we don't create gaps moving forward. We need to go back and build our optimal customer journey. So if we can see this information and we can see 12 months out that someone has a home care package, what are we going to do about it? When are we going to communicate with them? What are we going to communicate with them? What do we want to tell them about? Who's going to do it? We need to build what that journey looks like and what does good look like, so that everyone is on the same page, and at the end of that 12-month period, we've given someone the best possible experience. We need to educate our operational and/or workforce teams. This is a data set that isn't going to service just us. It's going to service strategy, shared services, decision makers, and also operations. So operations is where the metal meets the meat, right? This is where it all becomes unstuck. And if we have this opportunity with our data and we don't seize that opportunity and give our rostering teams, our workforce teams, our operational teams time to work with that data and be better prepared, then we've lost a huge opportunity. So we need to educate them on what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the benefits to them, so that we can help them implement it as part of their everyday. Almost finished. So we need to ensure we have a system that works for us. There's no point having all of this data if there's nowhere for it to go. So guys, if you have 2,000 CHSP clients and no relationship management system or management or client management system, is probably something to think about moving forward. And in general, we work in such a complex environment. We need to really start to critique the systems we're using, because they can make or break both the experience and the process that we're trying to manage. Lastly, we need to consider this as an ongoing automated data requirement. It's great to do this once. You can get a lot of value out of doing this work once. You can inform strategy once, you can understand your risk once, but imagine if you had this periodically, whether it's weekly, fortnightly, monthly, it doesn't matter what it is. Imagine if you just had this thing that comes out and it tells all of these people what is happening, and it happened periodically. That's the goal, guys. That's nirvana. So that's where we start. Lastly, I really want to thank you guys for sitting here for, the couple of minutes and listening to me bang on about the importance of a home care package pipeline. It's something I'm personally very invested in. It's work that I think is extremely important for any home care business that is either currently delivering home care packages or looking to deliver home care packages, which we all should be. If we're in home care right now, we're pretty much on a finite timeline until we're all delivering home care packages, if we plan on staying in the market. So look, I'm super invested. I've found a lot of success in this type of work personally. If you want to know more, reach out to me. I'm an open book. So my email is brad@caredata.com.au. Visit the website. I'm going to do my absolute best to get as much content as I can onto the website to reduce the amount that you need to rely on me personally. But I'm always happy for you to email me, give me a call. And if you would like to know more about the My Aged Care Toolkit and how it can help you begin this process, then again, reach out and say g'day. Thanks everyone. We'll talk soon.